The playoffs are here. What's going on, guys? I'm Dustin, sitting here at Nameco, heading into week 14. But before we get into it, quick shout out to Tung, first two-time winner in the Pick'em, very impressive. And also don't forget about our Bowl Pick'em. It's up and running. You can get to it off the link on the homepage. Go ahead and sign up. Bowl games start in just a couple of weeks.
Before we get into those tips, Tung, real quick, you can either choose the T-shirt or an autographed picture of me, Dustin, and Mike. I mean, I know which way I'd go.
It's a tough choice.
Close. But here's a real quick point of advice we wanted to come across. Last week, there was a lot of studs that really underperformed and really hurt some owners, maybe with your seeding in the playoffs. They even knocked you out, unfortunately. But if you did make the playoffs, don't fear away from these guys. The guys like Steve Johnson, we've had questions before him about him. Should he start him this week? Yes, he's a stud. You need to go with the guys that got you there. Don't start overthinking it based on last week's performances and start trying to play some matchup game and picking up these random people to plug in. Don't do that. Go with the guys that got you there.
And kind of a spin off of that, guys that have been on your bench all year and there's really no way you're going to start them no matter what the circumstance, go ahead and drop them and maybe either handcuff a guy or get a guy with a huge upside like Choice with Dallas right now. And if Felix Jones goes down, Choice could be an absolute stud. And don't be afraid to drop guys like Forsett, who even if Lynch gets hurt, he's probably not going to have any value. Reggie Bush, I mean, he has St. Louis this week, but then at Baltimore, at Atlanta, you're not going to start him against those teams. And then Steve Smith, Carolina, these guys, just you're not going to start them. Go ahead, get someone that might be able to actually help your team. Let's get into those forum questions. First one comes from JRO10. Got a tough one here. Which receiver should he start? Sidney Rice versus the Giants. Wes Welker at Chicago or Mario Manningham at Minnesota. As of now, 86% are going with Sidney Rice.
I think it's a lot closer than that 86%. Manningham, I put out. Knicks might be back. Really going to hurt his value. Out of the last two, Rice and Welker, I say it comes down to your league settings. If I was in a full PPR league, I would actually go Wes Welker over Sidney Rice. With that said, he's the safer play. Sidney Rice has that blow up potential, but also in standard leagues, I'm going Rice. So again, based on your settings. All right, Dustin, Colts fan for life wants to know which QB should he start? Phillip Rivers versus the Chiefs or Tom Brady at Chicago? 80% of the community says you go with Mr. Phillip Rivers.
This one is really tricky. I know it's Brady at Chicago. That's tough. There could be some weather. He's on the road, but he has just looked amazing lately. We all saw what he did against the Jets, but I just don't see how you can pass up Rivers at home against Kansas City. I think it's a much safer play. Stick Brady on your bench and just hope he doesn't have a repeat. All right, Brent, we got one more from Reese. Which running back? Thomas Jones at San Diego or Felix Jones versus Philly? As of now, 67% are going Thomas Jones.
I do not want this to sound like a cop-out, but again, I'm going to the settings card. Standard league, touchdown-heavy leagues, Thomas Jones would be my play. He's splitting with Jamal Charles, but he's still getting a decent amount of reps. San Diego does have a pretty tough run D. Philly also has a tough run D, but if you're in a PPR league, I really like Felix Jones out of these two. So again, I hate to be a cop-out. Based on settings, PPR Felix, standard Thomas.
It's time for our studs duds, and Brent was making fun of me because I always say this is my favorite part of the show, but I do love it. Let's get into my picks. Hopefully I can do a little better. LeGarrette Blount is my stud. Not my sleeper, my stud. This guy was on the waiver wire show. He should have been owned in more leagues. Going up against the Redskins, he's going to plow over some people this week. Look out for him. My dud, Cedric Benson at Pittsburgh. Just a scary matchup. Benson, he might find the end zone, might have a decent game, but he has very limited blow-up potential. And my sleeper, Malcolm Floyd against Kansas City. He's looking to be healthy. They're at San Diego. They're at home. I think Floyd's going to have a decent game.
All right, my stud's going to be Michael Turner against Carolina. We all know what Marshawn Lynch last week, 3 touchdowns, did against these Panthers. I expect Turner to have a monster day. Started Lynch against this guy in our league. My dud is going to be LT against Miami. Sean Green's getting a lot more touches. LT isn't as quick as he was at the beginning of the year. I think he's really on the downturn right now of the season. And my sleeper is going to be Derek Mason against the Houston Texans. What have we learned all year? If you throw a football or catch a football, you should start that guy against the Texans. Derek Mason will be catching the football Monday night against the Houston Texans.
All right, let's get into Mike's picks. His stud is a good one. Peyton Hillis against Buffalo. That's a scary matchup if you're going up against Hillis this week. He should easily blow up. Maybe even find a couple more touchdowns this week. His dud, Larry Fitz against Denver. We saw what Denver did to Dwayne Bowe last week. He's going to have Champ Bailey, all over him. It's not looking too good for Larry Fitz this week. And his sleeper, kind of surprising, Tashard Choice against Philly. That's a tough matchup, but Mike just thinks he's going to get his and have a decent game. So if you're in a bind, take a look at Choice. So that's it for this week's show. Good luck in the first week of the playoffs. Hopefully you made it. Get into those bowl pick'ems. We'll see you in the forum.